It's Platt, and today we go to Baltimore for a Guinness. That's next to Platt's Beer of the Week. So the particular beer we have today is the Baltimore Blonde. Comes to us from the fine folks at Guinness. It is actually produced at their Baltimore facility, thus Baltimore Blonde. We have previously tried the coconut mint stout, or the chocolate mint stout from Guinness. I don't believe they carry that brand anymore, unfortunately. A little background on the Guinness. Guinness was founded by Arthur Guinness in 1759 at St. James Gate, that area of Dublin, Ireland. He immediately pulled off a great business coup at the very start. The lease he signed for the land, I believe it was 4 acres, something like that, was for 9,000 years at £45 a year. What a great value. Now, unfortunately for them, that lease no longer exists because they kind of outgrew the parameters of it, but what a deal for sure. They were known actually at first for making ales, your traditional kind of pub style pale ales or whatever. It was not till later on they became known for what we know for today, stouts. They began exporting their beers in 1769. For a little context, that's 7 years before the U.S. became a country. They've been doing this for a while. In 1778, they began brewing a darker beer that was known as a porter. Porters are probably the first mass-produced darker beers that we think of, and were the precursor to the stout, which we'll talk about a little bit later. In 1838, they became the largest brewery in Ireland, and I dare say they've probably kept the title ever since. I can't think of another brewery that at some point in time would have caught them in Ireland. In the 1840s, they began using the term double stout and single stout. Now, stout back then was not a beer style. It was just a term to describe strength, body, and color of a beer, and generally porters. Back then, they were referred to as stout porters. Kind of like we use the term milk stout, milk describing the style of stout. Stouts, again, were in a category. They were describing the style of porter. Again, it was years down the line before we had an official beer style name in the stouts. But it all started with porters. We can thank porters for all the dark beer loveliness we have today. In 1886, the St. James Brewery, or St. James Gate area brewery, it became the largest production brewery in the world. Now, since then, other breweries have taken over that spot, but at one time, they were the largest brewer in the world, so that's a nice feather in the cap for sure. Move ahead to World War I, and during World War I, they wanted to do their part for the war effort, so they encouraged their male employees to enlist in the service, and if you did, your family, wife and kids would get half pay while you're off fighting the war, which is kind of a cool, thing for the time. Now, unfortunately, while they're doing that, they're also doing something else that wasn't real cool. Apparently, up until 1939, if you were a brewer at Guinness, and if you married Catholic, you had to resign. I mean, that's less than 100 years ago. Move ahead 20 years, though, and a little better news. Guinness, in 1959, switched from carbonating their beers with CO2 to nitrogen. This is actually a bigger deal, and I think a lot of people appreciate. Really gives a nice creaminess and a mouthfeel to beer. And for a long time, Guinness was really the only one that, major brewery that did it. I know when I started, bartending, that was kind of a cool fact about that. Nitrogen, they had the little cartridge and everything. It was a huge, huge deal. And really, again, changed, I think that concept works really great with darker beers. And once again, they have, done their part to help sell dark beers around the world. Guinness Book of World Records. That was actually a creation of Guinness Brewing. It was a marketing ploy back when beer marketing was fun. Cool idea. Lastly, in 2001, they merged with a company called Grand Metropolitan. That merger ended up creating what we know of today as Diageo, which is probably the largest alcoholic beverage company in the world. If not, they got to be in the top 2 or 3, but I think they are number 1. Real quick, let's talk about their line of beers. They only have 5 in total, and they don't make that chocolate mint beer anymore, unfortunately. First, Guinness Draft, 4.2% ABV, their flagship beer. If you just say stout, most people think Guinness Stout. So they've kind of conquered a category just with one beer, which is impressive. Next is Guinness Extra Stout, 5.6% ABV. This is basically the original formula, kind of like Coke Classic, I guess you can think of it that way. A little drier because of the higher alcohol content, but again, like I said, close to what the original would have tasted like. Next, we have Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, 7.5% ABV. This beer is a lot bigger, a lot bolder, more aggressive. Actually, in Malaysia and a couple other jurisdictions, they refer to this beer as a black bulldog. I think Guinness should lean into that. That does sound like a cool nickname. Lastly is Guinness Zero. It's their non-alcoholic brew. They claim it comes in at 57 calories, which for a non-alcoholic brew, and it supposedly has the same flavor profile as the classic Guinness. That's kind of impressive. Obviously, I don't drink Guinness, but I do have to give the brewers credit. If they pull that off, that is kind of impressive. Well, before we try this particular brew, though, let's check out stats. Well, all right, gang, before we try this particular beer, I just want to give a quick little sales pitch. I've done this the last couple of years for the Great American Beer Festival. It's coming up on September 21st through the 23rd in Denver, Colorado at the Colorado Convention Center. I went years ago. I've talked about this before. If you're a beer dork, it is absolute heaven. Just the variety, the types of beers, the quality, it is just a good time. The tickets, general admission, are $95. If you're a member of either the Brewers Association, the Professional Brewers Association, or like me, a member of the American Home Brewers Association, you get $10 off that ticket. Also, they do a special members-only session that the general public doesn't get to come in. It's $75, and the cool part about that is because it's less crowded, you have time to actually talk to some of the brewers. You get to meet some of the people that actually, a lot of these places will send actual employees or brewers to this thing, and it's really cool to talk to those guys, kind of pick their brain. They also do a VIP pass for $199. You get food and beverage pairings. They have chefs. It's really impressive, and it's a great value. Trust me. They lose money when I walk in the door. The tickets are per session, though. I think they have a total of 3 or 4 sessions total over the 3 days. So those are each session, but again, great value. Also, Denver's a cool town. They have like a rail system that goes to the convention center. There's bus system, plenty of hotels nearby. Even if you have to stay a little further out, short Uber ride into the convention center. Just a good time. Definitely, if you get a chance, make it. All right, enough of that. Let's drink a blonde. All right, pours nice, light copper, darkish gold. I find this concept kind of interesting because they're known for stouts, so it'll be interesting to see what this tastes like. All right, that's not too bad. Nice malt punch. It's a blonde ale, and it fits categorically. It does, for some reason, have that, I don't know if it's a European, I don't know if it's a yeast thing. There's kind of a European green bottle funkiness to it. Yeah, if that was a little lighter in color, I could mistake that for kind of classic light-bodied European ale that would be in a green bottle. I find that funky. It's not huge, not over the top. Does not make the beer unpleasant. It's just something. It's a little different than most traditional blonde ales. I always talk about blonde ales are a great gateway to craft beer because they're really close stylistically to a lot of your popular easy drinking lagers. This just has a little bit more. A little more viscous, just slightly more viscous, has a little bit of the funk to it. But overall, not a bad brew, but if they're creating this to get that base, that if they're using this as their gateway, I think they slightly missed the mark. I don't know if your Miller Lite buddy would just love this, where other blonde ales I have gotten the Miller Lite drinkers to accept. This one, I don't know, it's just off a little bit. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or beers that you'd like me to try, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.